All right, we're live on YouTube. Hello, folks. So I just need to fix a couple of things because when I went live on YouTube, it didn't work quite right. So let me just get that fixed up right now, and then we can get started. Here we go. Also, yeah, okay, good. So let me do one other thing. I accidentally created a duplicate. There we go. Delete this thing forever. I tried to get something set up so that I wouldn't have to do all of this logistics with YouTube stuff like I always do at the beginning of these streams, but I failed, so sorry. But I am pretty much ready now, and we'll see if I can make this even better in the future. It is Monday. Okay. So if you're new here, welcome. Happy to have you. Let me just share my screen and we can get things underway. So office hours is just this thing that I do every Monday and Thursday to answer people's questions, mostly so that I don't have to get interrupted every day, all day, answering people's questions. So I can just do it in bulk all at once. It ends up working a lot better for everybody. So yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions, whether it's related to my material or just like something that you've been thinking of. I can't promise that I'll always give the right answers or good answers to your questions, but I always try to give answers, to honest, good faith questions. So yeah, I think that's all I got to say. I'll mention, because I know that some people are wondering, I am starting to feel a little bit better from the COVID. I had COVID. I think that I'm done having COVID now, and I'm feeling better. So with that, and as far as the questions go, we typically have a bunch of questions queued up here in the Discord, and I'm happy to go through those, which looks like right around here is the first question. So I'm going to copy a link to this. And I'll just put that right there. Yeah, if we have questions here in the Zoom, those always take priority. So yeah, what do you want to know? Looks like no questions here in the Zoom, which is cool. That's fine. I will just go to the Discord. Feel free to interrupt me if you do have a question in Zoom. Okay. Let me just read this one really quick. Okay, so I'm not sure I understand the question without looking at these. So let me just get an idea. Looks almost like a Twitch-like thing. I don't know Russian, so let's see if we can make some sense of this. Or maybe it's like a news articles, something about gaming. Okay. And then we've got the PC gamer. So it's basically like a blog sort of content based platform. So the question here is, lots of places to go, lots to interact with. There's no main happy path there. Yeah, okay. So typically I say your end-to-end test should be like, what's the typical path for a user, which is normally pretty easy to identify when we're talking about like a e-commerce website or something, because the the path is like, okay, so I'm logged in and I go search for a product and then I add it to my cart and then I search for another one and I add that one and I remove the last one and whatever and go through that sort of typical path or that typical use case you want to support. And the assertion here is that, well, with like a content site, there's not really a typical path or whatever. I would argue against that. I think regardless of what you're building, there is something you're expecting the user to do. Otherwise, you wouldn't build it. And so I think that you absolutely have an opportunity to focus on what the end user, what you expect the end user to do. And on top of that, you want to just think about, okay, so we're going to have users on this thing. What do we want to make sure that they can continue to do and never breaks? And so like for this, I go here, I'm a typical user. So I'm going to navigate to an article of interest, and then I will, interact with different elements of this article. I don't know what this is going to do if I click this, but yeah, see something pops up, whatever. So like you're going to have a typical user. I shouldn't say that like every user flow is going to be the same, but you can think of a couple of different things that users might do, and that's what you make your test do. You think about some of the things that you really want to make sure don't break, and so here you can say, okay, well, I don't know what this says. Let's let's go with English here. So yeah, to come in, here we go. And so like you'll have a login there. Maybe they're going to go and change their settings, whatever. So those are the kinds of things that I would do in my end-to-end tests. You really just think about what are the things that users are going to do here, and the things that I want to make sure that don't break, and you test for those things. So yeah, and where would you start? Probably with the things that are most critical to your business. If this is just like a for fun or side project or whatever, that like there is no business, then it's just the things that like you can probably categorize things into what I would get up in the middle of the night to fix versus what I would wait until the next morning. And there's a spectrum there, and you just start on the most critical things first. And if it's all critical, then maybe it doesn't actually matter which one you do first in that case. But yeah, try to put it in buckets, and then just pick the thing. Maybe if they're all like equally important, then just do the easiest one. And then especially at first. Let me just look at the follow-up question here. Yeah, I remember reading this and I was unsure what he meant, what Peter, I think is his name, what Peter meant here with that. I don't know. I'm probably missing something, because this doesn't seem that like confusing or challenging to me. So I'm probably missing something. I pretty much like, if I were a user today, what would I do on your thing? Make your test do that thing. And I wouldn't worry too much about like, which should I do? Like, well, there are millions of things my users can do. That's fine. Just pick one and go with that. And then, as you continue to build out things, you say, oh, well, the one that we picked isn't the thing that most users do. Okay, that's fine. Just now write a test that is what most users do, um, and continue from there. Hold on a second. Um, Okay, cool. Got a question about this Stop Mocking Fetch blog post. Oh, yes, I remember seeing this, I think on Twitter. So yeah, and I mentioned that this is the approach that that you could take. I'm trying to remember. There was a place that I showed this, and then I showed you a different way to do this. There were not you specifically, but like there was some instructional material that I made. I am trying to remember where it was. Let me just let me try. I think it may be in one of these. This would be yeah, this one here. I had an update there. It might be in here, but I don't think so. I think it's probably, whoops, testing React apps, maybe. So let me find MSW here. We'll find MSW here and MSW here. Okay, so in here, okay, let's just dive through some of these. Nope, I think it's use, no, no. Here we go. Okay, this might be helpful. Let me just keep going. Okay, and let me take a look at, no, I didn't think so. Okay, so I'm pretty sure, yeah, I don't think this is gonna be it. No. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I think this is the best we're gonna be able to do. So with MSW, you've got your server handlers, which we've in this file here. Actually, let me just grab this and put it in the Discord so folks can take a look at that. So we've got handlers that we're pulling in from our test server handlers. We set up our server with that, but then we had a specific test where we wanted to override one of the built-in handlers and do something different. And so within this server handler, there are a couple of ways that we can make some assertions. So, oh, I just noticed there's a chat here in Zoom. Don't chat in Zoom. I don't check this. Do all of your chats in the Discord. Not only do I not check this, I also don't, there's no history there. So I like it to be in the Discord. Sorry about that. I wonder if I can disable chat in Zoom, because then people would just naturally go to Discord. Anyway, so yeah, we're overriding the, the server handler for this endpoint. And then when that login, yeah, it happens when you submit the form, then this is going to make a request. This is going to handle that request. And so what we could do, let's pretend that this is not like a one-off thing, but instead this is like where we're handling a shopping cart checkout. And so in here, we could do a check to say, hey, let's assert, you know what, I'm going to just pull up the edit so I can type some code in here. So we've got, my goodness, just need to get my scroll in the right spot. So yeah, we'll just pretend that this is like thing.com/checkout or whatever. And here you want to make sure that, you know, we've got our, you know, request body, shopping cart. Okay, so this is going to be an array of items. And so what we're thinking is, well, maybe let's do an expect this to equal the expected cart or whatever you want to put an assertion. But there's some discomfort here because this is happening inside of our async handler. And what actually is going to happen is if this fails, then that will fail our request, and then our application might actually handle that. And so then our test doesn't fail. And so then we have to check, okay, well, let's make sure that it's just not a good idea. So this is what it would maybe work, but this is something better. What I would do instead is I would say let request, and then I'd say request equals rec. And then at the bottom, after you do all of your stuff and behave properly, whatever, you can add another assertion in here that says expect request dot body shopping cart to equal to expected. That's what I would do. This is going to be pretty nonsensical to anybody who didn't watch this, but I'm going to put this in here anyway, just for people to look at. So hopefully that's helpful to you. This when I don't remember where I did this, but I have done this before and it works fine. So this is the only potential problem that I see with this is if this endpoint ends up getting called multiple times, you're only going to get the last time that it was called. And so like you could potentially also say my handler equals jest function. And this would be the implementation of your handler. And then you can expect the handler mock calls 0.rec to have, whoops, I'm putting that in the wrong spot. Whoops. This is not going to make any sense to anybody who looks at this code later. But there you go. So something like that might also work. Just two alternatives. Feel free to give those a whirl. But I don't really see a whole lot of problems with that approach. So it's a good question. Okay, cool. Let's move on to our next, unless anybody here in the Zoom does have a specific question they want to ask. You always get preferential treatment. Okay, Vasily has another question. Is it time to improve these tests? So let's take a look at them. This UI components library uses animation a lot. Yeah. So one thing that I like about React Transition, what's it called? Transition group is they have a global config to disable animations, JavaScript-based animations. Another thing to consider is if they're CSS animations, then maybe there's some way to disable the animations using the preferred reduced motion. I've never done this before, but that was just something that occurred to me. That might be kind of interesting to look into. Animations is tricky though, because you don't want your unit and integration test to actually run and wait for the time for the animation. Your end-to-end tests are different. You typically do want those to wait for the actual animation, because otherwise, like, you could end up in a situation where you ship an infinite animation into production. That would not be good. So with your end-to-end test, you want it to be as real as possible. But with your like integration unit test, you want those to be fast. That's where they provide a lot of value. So with that in mind, let's take a look at this. We've got our username modal. Yeah, I would not want to wait for that animation for every test that pops open this username modal. So, well, let's take a look at how this is being tested. Oh, one second. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. I'm back. Okay, now let's take a look at this. So first of all, you never need to wrap this in act ever. This never needs to happen, period. All user event and fire events are already wrapped in act. And so, yeah, you never need to use act for this sort of thing. Same thing for any wait for element to be removed. Now, I imagine that you're doing this because once you saw a warning or whatever, the warning that you saw probably was some asynchronous thing that happened after this quick event occurred. And so for those, you're covered by wait for. So even then, you don't need to use act. You just need to make sure that you're waiting for everything that your component's going to do. So never need to use act, period, when you're using the React Testing Library utilities. If you're not using React Testing Library utilities, then yes, you do. But in your case, you are. So you're fine. And that includes user event. Okay, so we're just looking for a general review of the test, I guess. So let's take a look. We've got some default prompts. We've got a username modal. We're clicking on the button. We're waiting for please confirm to continue. I don't see please confirm to continue. Interesting. So this may not be visible. Because that's not visible, I would not put this assertion in there. I'm guessing that this is hidden. So yeah, I wouldn't put that assertion in there. A manual tester wouldn't assert that, so your test shouldn't either. I would just wait for the please choose a username. And here, I'm going to go ahead and fork this, and we'll make some changes. And we'll see if we can get this these tests running. I never really trust Code Sandbox to do the right thing. So I'm actually going to open up my terminal. Where'd you go? Where is it? I'm guessing it's oh, no, yep, it is hiding right behind. Zoom likes to keep all of its windows on top because it thinks it's the most important thing in the world. Okay. Okay, well, I'll just have that going. So yeah, that'll be installing. So we've got our act. We don't need that. We've got this wait for, but we're waiting for something that's not actually visible to the user, so we're not going to do that. We're also waiting for this please choose a username to show up. What I would recommend is actually using await screen find by text instead. And then you don't need an assertion. We just, I mean, if you want to, you can. And what I would do is I'd just say expect await find by screen to be in the document. So yeah, that's what I would do there. And then we'll check on the confirmation checkbox. We'll wait for please confirm to continue to go away. I'm guessing because that's an animation, so you do have to wait for that to happen, which is super annoying. But it the fact is that an end user would have to wait for it to go away as well. So I think that's reasonable. And then we're going to expect please choose a username to be in the document. I'm not sure how much value there is in that assertion because we already asserted that. Let me get these tests running locally. And I'll copy and paste all this. Okay. Yeah, it's taken a while because those animations, we got to get those mocked out. Even if you mock the animations, you still don't get around you shouldn't get around putting things off onto the next tick of the event loop because an animation does happen, but you want to make it so those animations happen very quickly is all. And I'm not sure how to do that with ant design. I'll mention also that ant design is notoriously really, really bad for testing because it's not very accessible. This is something I've dealt with for a very long time. So that is just like I see people mentioning this all the time, that it's not good or that it's hard to test. So I've never used it myself, so I can't really speak to that specifically. But anyway, let's get rid of this right here. Like I said, I would not have this assertion. I don't really see its value. Yeah, no, that's odd. Here, let's put that back in for a second. Let's take care of this first. So I would just get rid of this, but even if you wanted to keep it around, don't use query by. Use get by. The only time you should use query by ever, the only time, is if you want to assert that something's not in the document. That is the only time. Let me just give you this. My son is in need of something, so 1 second while I take care of that, and I will be right back. All right, sorry about that. We just have some family things going on this morning. So yes, this is a common mistake to, oh wait, where am I? There we go. Common mistake to use query by. You pretty much only ever use it when you want to assert something's not in the document. And the reason is that you get much better error messages if something goes wrong. So in any case, I wouldn't even include this, so we're going to get rid of that. And actually, I'm just going to look for any other query bys. We'll just get rid of those. Okay. So let's see what's going on here. Yeah, because that's odd. I'm not sure what was failing with this. So let's just take a look. Okay, so here it's saying it found multiple elements with the text test username. So we've got a div. We've got two divs. One that has the select item option. And that's coming from right here. Okay, that's actually fine. Who cares? We can just say get all by text. The reason that using act was fixing that, I'm actually not sure. That is odd. Okay. Oh, wait a second. This is, we're waiting for it to be in the document. So we need to be more specific rather than just saying, let me find some text. We need to say the specific thing that we're looking for. So here, this is an option and this is the option content. Let's take a look at what this actually is in the browser. Come on, wake up. Code Sandbox is great sometimes, but often it is not, and it really drives me bonkers. See if we can run it locally. Okay, here we go. So when I click I confirm, and then I choose a username, so we just choose a test one. So for that brief second in time, you have both the selection right here as well as the options. And that's why we're getting this error, is because we've got both of these, the option and then the selection, the selected item. So yeah, this one's a little bit tricky, but basically we want to wait for all the options to disappear before continuing. Yeah, animations are stupid, no fun, but this is what we're gonna do. We'll await, wait for element to be removed. And we're gonna say screen, screen get by role option, or get all by role. Yeah, we're just gonna wait for all the options to be removed. And they should be removed, but they are not. That is interesting. Here, let's take a look at what the actual thing looks like. It's possible that they're actually rendered, just not displayed, in which case, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Here, let's do it in here. Here we go. In which case we'll need to follow a different strategy here. That's the placeholder. For crying out loud, that's annoying. Yeah, okay, so they don't actually go away. Boy, so how did you ever have it working? Because it should never have gone away. That's interesting. Okay, well, there's a better way to accomplish this same thing then. So here we're displaying the test username in the select option content. And I think, let me see. Sorry, I've never used AND before, so it's taking me a second to figure out how they do stuff. It looks like the select is like totally self-encapsulated. I think what we'll have to do is use this as the selector, which is not cool, but it is what it is. So we're going to say selector. So we're going to look for the thing by its text and only match those that match this selector. Is this failing on the line? I think it is, or this is happening later. Oh, and then we click on it. Wait. So we wait for it, and then we click on it again, and then we assert. Okay, so we're going to type in it. Oh, and then we wait for the option to show up. Got it. And then we click on it. Okay, hold on a second then. Let's go back. I was misunderstanding the intent here. Okay, so we type in here, and then we wait for the option to show up. Okay, so in that case, we can say get by role. Option, and then that. And actually, if we want to click on this, here's what we're going to do. We will find by role, and we'll await that. And we can get rid of this. There we go. That's better. And rats. Let's see what's going on now. Wait for element to be removed. Please choose a username. Yeah, that is odd. Where is that showing that? Please choose a username. That's happening right here. So when I click on this, did please please choose a username. Let me see. We've got our test option. So we are able to click on it. When does this show up? It I guess it does show up, huh? Oh, right, because we click on everything first. That makes sense. This is that's suddenly making a lot more sense. Because originally, in the original test, Vasily had, let me just pull up the original, had an assertion that the error message for the checkbox appeared, and I was confused by that. But that's because I didn't realize, or I just didn't think about the fact that we're clicking on the submit button, which should actually make all those things show up. And that's what this is all about. Okay, that's all making sense now. So let me bring this back, and I'll just make an adjustment for this. So we're going to await screen find by text. And actually, for these, they're alerts. And so rather than find by text, it should be find by role alert with the name set to that. Except this one needs to be on that side. Yeah. And then here we can wait for it to be removed. So find by role, alert with the name. This is going to give you more confidence because it's not just some text that shows up, but it actually is an alert. So that's going to have implications for the screen readers. Okay. Unable to find role alert. And this is, wow, what the heck? Please confirm to continue. Sure looks like an alert to me. Am I spelling it wrong? Please confirm to continue. So let's check this out. I'm gonna pop this open in testing playground. Whoops. And if I wanted to find that, I can get by role alert and to scope it down. Here, actually, I'm pretty sure if I make it scope it down, this is another. I failed to provide something useful. Ah, that's too bad. Hold on, sorry, more family stuff going on, I think. Okay, good. Yeah, that's kind of odd that it failed to find something useful. Well, let's do screen find by role alert name. Please confirm to continue. Here, actually, let's just do get by in here. That is super odd. Well, this would explain why it's not working locally, but I'm not sure why it's not working for me. So let's pull up the accessibility tab here. The name is nothing. What? This is wrong. There's something wrong here. Because I do this all the time. I've got, let me think. I don't know what's different about this from anything else. I need to move on to other questions, but this should absolutely work. If it doesn't for some reason and you don't have time to figure out why this isn't working, then just switch to by text, which is what I'm going to do right now. But yeah, that should absolutely work, and that would be the better way to do it. That is super odd. I don't understand that. Okay, so here we're saying let's click the checkbox and then let's wait for that warning to go away. What the heck? Oh, we've got another alert right here. Yeah, so then again, this should be by role, but we're gonna just, I don't have time to figure out why that's not working. Yeah, so then we wait for that to go away. And then we type in here, we choose an option, we wait for that warning to go away, and then we click the submit button. You shouldn't need act in there. And then you wait for your on submit to get called and your close modal to get called. I'm not sure what else is breaking here, but I've got to move on. This test looks good to me. Now, there's probably some things you could do to make it faster. Specifically, I think that the animations are all running, and that's why these asynchronous things are taking so long. So figure out how to disable animations with Ant, and if it's not possible, then that's just sad. I'm not sure what to do about that. Like, you may have to just mock it out or something, or contribute back to Ant to make it not so bad. Let me just copy all of this and I will give it to you, and good luck. It should work with the role. You really should try to use by role as much as possible. Yeah, I don't know why that is timing out. That's weird. Oh, you know what? Actually, it might be timing out because the animations are in play. And so if we did configure, we said configure, oh, what is the timeout? Async. Oh no. Yeah, async util timeout. Is that it? I think that's it. So if we make it wait for 4.5 seconds, then yeah, it looks like it's still there. There's something else wrong. I don't have time to look at it right now, but hopefully that helps get you in the right direction there. Okay, cool. So let's see what other questions we've got with the time that we've got left. Currently trying to test UI. Sorry, I sometimes will try to read it out loud, but then I don't understand it when I'm reading it out loud, so I'm just going to read it quietly. Whoa, that's fun. Yeah, okay, so, oh, sorry, let me finish the last one. Yeah, okay, good questions, all of them. So for your first question, the creator of React 3 Fiber, which I'm assuming you're using, if you're not, then maybe give it a look. So let's see, Twitter, what is his name? Paul Henschel. So he recently tweeted some testing stuff he's been doing. Let me see if I can find it. Oh yeah, visual regression testing. This seems like a pretty legit idea for like 3D testing of 3D stuff. Because yeah, like even I don't think Cypress even can draw what's in a canvas, like, or you can't interact with what's in a canvas. I think that you can actually fire a click event, but you have to give it XY coordinates. Very difficult, but I think it's possible. You wouldn't be able to use Cypress testing library to query around for anything in there. This is one of the things that, like, yeah, good luck on accessibility for WebGL and Canvas based things. It's just very difficult to do that. So because it's so difficult to make accessible, it's also difficult to test. Yeah, like the 3D viewer getting mocked out. I mean, yeah, and then you could test the individual components. You can also look at how 3JS tests. I think they do more like shallow rendering type stuff. I don't like that. I think that's really bad, but yeah, man, you just lose so much confidence. But maybe you could look at that. Yeah, I just don't do anything with 3D stuff in the browser, so I don't have too much to offer there. Visual regression testing seems like a pretty reasonable approach. And then interacting with it, maybe Cypress with the XY coordinate stuff, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. That's tricky. Sorry. Doing lower level testing, like unit testing on specific things, and trying to extract as much as you can into pure functions to test those seems like an okay approach. But at some point, you need to make sure it actually renders and you can interact with it. So yeah, good luck. I don't know of any resources on that. So if you learn stuff, blog about it. Okay, so I did mention, I've mentioned many times that there are some things only end-to-end tests can handle for you. It's actually not end-to-end tests per se, but the tools. So Jest runs in Node, and so to simulate a browser environment, you need something like JSDOM. I don't know of anything else actually that does what JSDOM does, but it simulates a browser environment in Node. Unfortunately, there are just some things that are too hard for the open source community to work on in JSDOM. And so layout isn't supported, which means anything that's where you need to test the scroll position or yeah, like position of anything really, you're going to be in a lurch. And also like browser APIs, certain browser APIs like the Bluetooth API and geolocation, stuff like that. All of those things need to be mocked when you're in Jest, which is sometimes fine, especially like geolocation. You wouldn't want to run that actually with real geolocation. Otherwise your test would fail based on like, I'm here in my office, but then my server that runs my test is like in who knows where. So yeah, but like stuff like layout, which is what I was testing with downshift, I needed to make sure that when you hit the down arrow key that the scroll view got updated properly and stuff. And you couldn't test that in a simulated browser environment like JSDOM. So that's the situation where end-to-end tests, where Cypress is a good fit. And to test downshift, I basically just made a mini app that actually it was Storybook. And I pulled up Storybook in Cypress and then interacted with the individual stories there. So that worked out pretty well. That was fine. And that's, yeah, sometimes you just need to do that. There's also Cypress unit test or whatever, Cypress React unit test or something like that, that can help you with that too. Yeah, and you can use Cypress testing library for that. So you can query around. You wouldn't use React testing library, you just use Cypress testing library. If you're using Cypress, there's nothing that, the only thing that React testing library offers you is the ability to query and, sorry, that's what testing library offers you, is the ability to query better than Cypress has built in. And that's what Cypress testing library offers. Yeah, as far as duplicated stuff, you make a good argument for duplication because then, you have a better idea of like, oh, this end-to-end test failed because this integration test is failing. And so we need to fix that, and that'll fix the end-to-end test. Yeah, so there's that argument, but there is something to be said for what's most important or a good use of your time. Are you like, is testing your end product? If it is, then maybe making you really productive at testing is good. and identifying what's triggering issues, and you can just over test to your heart's content. But I'm guessing that you're an engineer that's building a product, and if you talk to your boss and said, yeah, we're writing this test, which is actually already covered here, it's just there to make it so we identify problems sooner and whatever, and they're like, yeah, but we have like this big backlog of things that we want you to do, could you do that instead? So like it comes down to what's the most important thing for you to spend your time doing, and you should prioritize it like you do anything else. And that goes with any testing at all. You just prioritize it, like how important is it that your checkout button doesn't break? If it's not that important, then work on the cool, shiny new features. But my guess is it's kind of important. But then how important is it that you can have a faster feedback loop on your checkout button not working, whatever? Maybe that doesn't matter quite as much as making sure that you fix the bug where users can't change their settings. I don't know, whatever. So yeah, hopefully that is helpful and insightful. And thanks, Jed, for giving your 2 cents on this as well. I'll just see if I have additional comments. Oh, it was meant for Vasily. Oh, okay, good. Okay, cool. No additional comments there. Yeah, sorry about that, Vasily. I missed this comment where you corrected my misunderstanding. Okay. No worries, you're good. Oh, nice. Thank you, Neil. I wonder if I can like configure that for all of these meetings, disable for all your meetings. Ooh, okay. Nothing more. Oh, yeah, I don't want to do it for all the meetings. It's all right. It's not a big deal. I'll just have it open and remind people. Thank you, though. Okay, I think we're done. That was fun. Thanks, everyone. Good luck on those tests, Vasily. If you get something that ends up working following the tips that I give you here, let me know. If you find that adding ACT wrapped around some of these things actually makes a difference, then let's talk about it, because it should not. And because user event should be wrapped in ACT. Actually, user event isn't wrapped in ACT. What is wrapped in ACT is all the fire events that it's triggering under the hood. So that's what's wrapped in ACT, and so that's why you shouldn't need it. Okay, cool. So I think that's it. Thanks everybody for hanging out. I hope you have a marvelous week and a good day. And yes, I am feeling a lot better, so thank you. One sec. Okay, Jed's got a question. Are you here, Jed? You want to just ask me with your voice? I'm calling you Jed, but it's Jed. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's Judd. Hey, yeah, no, I scrambled to get it pasted. So I think I figured out the get by role thing. So I think a name, I think it's supposed to be text.
That should not be the case. So I'm pretty sure that unless somebody changed the API and released something that I didn't know, it should be name. But let's just check the docs here, because that would be a surprise to me. Yeah, so it's looking for name. Did it work with text? Did you do that?
Did
it worked with text? Sorry?
Yes, it did work.
Yeah, my guess is that this was actually just ignored and it was finding the element by its role alert. So if you added 2 alerts on there with different text and then used the text option, it would throw an error saying, hey, I found 2 alerts.
Let me go run that right now. Yeah, you got it. So what I did was I did get by role, and then I did text XYZ, which is not in the DOM tree. Yeah, it still worked. Sorry, I got excited.
No, that's all right. That's all right. You're good. Thank you for trying. I appreciate that. Okay, thanks everybody. This is a good time. We'll see you again on Thursday. And yeah, I'm gonna go. I'll probably do some live streaming today if anybody wants to join me in Discord, because it's fun. Okay, that's everything.